Okay, cool. Hopefully you can hear me. Good evening. How you doing, guys? So we've made some changes to the microphone setup. So I guess hopefully it's going to be better. We had some microphone issues the other night. Let me get rid of that live now. Crap. Cool. Good evening. Once again, my stream manager is showing that I'm offline on YouTube and I'm offline on Twitch, but I'm pretty sure I'm not, in that I can see people in the chat and I can see some followers came in as well over on Twitch. So yeah, nice to see you. Good evening, and yeah, smash the like button if you are here live. I really appreciate you doing that. And yeah, Mark, Lawrence, Julian, Tony, you guys are always around. Thank you for supporting me. Watching your channel has brought me back to the game after 10 years. Cool, man. Welcome back. I actually took a long break myself. Probably from like, let me think, maybe like 2008 through 2017 or something. You know, like I had a long break myself. So it happens, life happens, and then you get back to it, seems like. So I was just started working on these Blade Guard veterans the other night. I decided to go with gold, and I've barely started them. And we're doing a batch paint here, so yeah, and let me fire on some music, because we like to listen to music on Saturday night. Family are all gone to bed, so it's time to do some hobbying. Yo, Reziel, how you doing? We can see and hear you fine. Yeah, hopefully the microphone actually sounds clearer, at least in the tests I was doing earlier. It sounded like there was less background noise, so go figure. Hopefully we've sorted out the microphone issues for good. Wow, this paint is a bit thick. I was watching the Dark Angels debut on Tabletop Titans, but it'll be up later. Yeah, I mean, like, the rumors or the early indications that I've heard from the Dark Angels book sound like they have some very, very interesting and strong mechanics, which is cool, I suppose. Sometimes at the beginning of an edition, if you get your codex first, you can suffer a little bit because, you know, like the newer armies get more buffs or whatnot. But I mean, they did release those Psychic Awakening books in 8th edition, so I'm sure there'll be something like that at some point in 9th edition. So I'm not going to worry about if people are saying like, oh, they're too strong. I'm sure it goes around what comes around. It'll be fine, I'm sure. Those Blade Guard are going to look awesome when they're done. Thanks, Origin. How you doing? Good evening, Evan. And yesterday, after you swapped USB ports, the sound quality improved a good deal. Yeah, I think I have managed to improve the sound quality. So, but you'll notice that the actual microphone, this microphone, I'm not using it anymore. So go figure. I've got this fancy microphone, and yeah, it's not being used anymore. So, oh well, the waste of money that was. We'll buy another microphone at some point, but yeah, I mean this is, hopefully this sounds better. So cool. Grinding out hobby, yeah. Watching Helmstorm Angels battle Blood Angels, and also here at the LVO Open. Yeah, I want to try and catch some of the games tomorrow. I've kind of been tied up all day, and like, I'm desperate to get this stuff painted. So as much as I want to watch those games, I need to paint. I'm so behind. This new list that I'm making has 5 Blade Guards in it, and I don't have any of them painted. So I figure I'd just do all 7 at the same time in a batch paint. And the new list I'm making also has 4 Eradicators in it. I have none of them painted as well, so I need to paint those. Well, I've got Eradicators with base coats on them, but that's it. And then it also needs incursors, which I was telling you guys for ages, like, I'm going to buy incursors. Well, I bought them as well, so this new list that I'm working on has like 25 models or something that I need to get painted, and I probably spend, let me think, because I've been painting 11 Vanguard veterans now for about 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, and they're not finished yet. So I guess I probably I don't know, probably spend 5 hours plus in every model. So if I've got 28 to paint, it's a lot of time, right? Um, Hello, Big Chief. Good evening. How you doing, man? Hope you're well. I was gonna do a little bit of painting last night, but like I did a Zoom call with some of my real life buddies, and we had a whiskey or two, and then I was like, yeah, I generally just don't do any painting after I've been drinking. It never works out well. Howdy, Northern Hero. Good evening. No, I meant your nicer mic. You got a richer sound. The mic now with some noise in it, but it's unavoidable. Yeah, I mean, I think this mic is generally better now, so hopefully, anyway. But yeah, if there's any sound issues, please let me know as soon as possible, because, like, I guess if we have ongoing sound issues, then I'll just make buying another mic a priority. I was gonna buy a second webcam so that, like, when we're doing live games, we can, like, have an angle, kind of like how Tabletop Tactics has an angle where you can see the players. So I was gonna buy it, but like I guess because of COVID right now, webcams have gone up in price friggin' ridiculously, right? Basically every webcam is double in value, so I was going to buy a new webcam for that, and then I was going to work on buying a 4K camera for the battle reports as well. A 4K camera would generally improve the quality of all the videos I do, I guess, because I film all my videos on like this shitty Sony Handycam that costs like $200. It's quite terrible, honestly, but I mean it does the job, I guess. Doing great, getting ready for a 3K point fight against Necrons tomorrow. Why the gold on the Blade Guard? You know, the gold on the Blade Guard is just kind of like, why not? So a lot of people run a lot of Sangori Guard, right? I usually only run one squad of Sangori Guard, and I mean Sangori Guard are just like they're basically first company veterans, right? Or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, actually. Maybe they've changed it recently in lore, but like I thought they were first company veterans. And so I did my Vanguard veterans in gold as well. I'm working on 11. I've got them right behind me. I'll show you one. I did like 3 hours more on them today, but like I said, it's a batch paint. So yeah, these are the ones that I'm working on. So these are Vanguard veterans, but I mean they are like, I think this may be even a Sangori Guard chest piece or something. It's a Death Company backpack, and it's a Sangori Guard head for sure, and I think it's Death Company sword. But yeah, I just thought that like I generally like the gold as sort of our elite jump troops, right? So I guess Blade Guard veterans aren't jump troops, but you know, they are sort of like elite close combat troops. So I just thought like, I'm just going to do them gold. I mean, they're supposed to have gold helmets, but yeah, I thought I'd just do something different, I guess. I think it's probably because I feel like I'm always like paint a lot of red models being a Blood Angels player, right? And like sometimes maybe you just want to change. I mean, it's like the Outriders that I was working on. I painted my Outriders Death Company colors just because like I kind of felt like, hey, they're close combat units and they might look quite cool as Death Company, and I'm actually really pleased. I haven't finished them, but like they work pretty well. I actually painted my Reavers Death Company as well, because I felt like the skull helmets that those Reavers have are like very, very Death Company feeling. So yeah, I just thought that the Blade Guard and the Vanguard vets, they can be gold. They're one step away from the Sangori Guard. That is the thought behind it. Good evening, Jeffrey. How you doing? I made the mistake of using airbrush for my red, and with the weather at the moment, I can't get outside, so struggling to paint any Blood Angels at all this week. Yeah, I mean, the weather can be a real... I've had times where like the weather's actually been the opposite, where it's been like too hot, and it may like apparently the rattle can paint will dry in midair, and then you get like this sort of horrible bobbly texture on the sprayed models, and there's no real way to fix it maybe except stripping them. It's pretty horrible. But I actually sprayed 5 more Vanguard veterans like yesterday evening, and a few more with lightning claws and a few more with chain swords, just so I've got some more options for them. So I was debating. I was like, do I put these 5 more Vanguard veterans on my painting table and like so play catch up? So I'm doing a 16-man paint job, or do I just leave them and try and get on to some of these other things? Because the new list that I've worked on doesn't actually have any Vanguard vets in it. It's actually going to have these Blade Guard. But so yeah, I'm probably just gonna, in an effort to try and have a fully painted army in the next battle, because I never have a fully painted army because apparently I'm always changing my mind. I'm going to try my absolute best to focus on the things that need to be painted for this list, and I guess we'll take it from there. So Blade Guard are definitely in this next list. I did a batch paint of 60 guardsmen. Jeez. I don't know if I could do 60 models at a time. That sounds soul destroying. My painting works better when I've been drinking. Well, I mean, does it actually work better, or do you just think it works better when you're drinking? My 2K game v Space Wolves was fun. The BA took it down. It was pretty brutal though. Yeah, did you have a stream of that, or was it just screenshots of the game against Space Wolves? Necrons are seriously good. If your opponent takes into a lot of warriors, look out. Yeah, I mean, I had that battle against all the Necron warriors. It can be very difficult, actually, Necrons. The Obsec dynasty they have as well is absolutely brutal, where every single troop unit in their, every single unit in their army that's part of the dynasty is Obsec. That is really difficult to deal with as well. If you do my list, will you review 2 lists at once? I mean, usually we just do 1 list at a time. I mean, I kind of try and keep the live show to like 2 hours, you know, so but if you have another list you want looked at as well, I mean, just submit it the normal way, and I will look at it. Like, I definitely have looked at some people's lists multiple times by now. But yeah, I mean, 2 hours seems to be a sweet spot, like, because before the show was maybe overrunning like half an hour. In the last half hour, like, a lot of people dropped off according to analytics, so I mean 2 hours is probably the longest I can really make the show. People have stuff they want to do on a Sunday as well, so 2 hours seems like the sweet spot. Building a second unit of Eradicators, so should get to paint them next week. What do you think the best squad of Vanguard veterans for 5-man is? I have Storm Shields in all my Vanguard veterans, and maybe depends how you want to play them, right? Like, I play them like straight up the middle of the board. I actually kind of want people to shoot at them because they're quite survivable with the Storm Shields. Like, if they're going to be able to shoot at something in my army, I'd rather they shoot at the Vanguard veterans than the Sanguinary Guard, right? So, I like the Storm Shields a lot on the Vanguard veterans, and Lightning Claws seem like a really good option. I haven't actually, that's what I bought more of this week, to get some with Lightning Claws, but at the moment I usually run either Power Fists and Chain Swords or Thunder Hammers and Chain Swords, but I think Lightning Claws and Storm Shields will be good as well. I'll let you know once I've ran them. But I mean, maybe we could, someone was asking about Math Hammer for Vanguard veterans against Death Company, so maybe we'll do that in the next week or so, or might not be the next week or so, but we'll do that soonish. We'll get all the Math Hammer worked out for, basically like killing infantry with Death Company or Vanguard veterans, because Vanguard veterans can kill vehicles. I mean, they do have melta bombs, I guess, which is very nice against vehicles, but yeah, I mean, they just, I guess they can fill 2 roles. You can have them as sort of like a heavy hitting group with Thunder Hammers and very survivable with the Storm Shields, or you can have them like with Lightning Claws and basically aiming to rip up infantry. So yeah, we'll do that Math Hammer on the channel at some point soonish. Can't really give you a date beyond soonish. My name is Marcus in the Facebook group, and I'll post pictures tomorrow. Yeah, definitely post up pictures. I'm trying to think if I'm going to do these. I didn't notice when I was painting these guys last night, but all their legs have these little like weird wings. I guess I don't know what you would call them. We'll paint them red. We can always change our mind if we really don't like them. Maybe we'll just... Yeah. Screw it, we'll paint these wing things red, whatever they are. Hi all, I'm moving right on to my next project, a Relic Contemptor with 2 times twin link las cannons. Not super competitive, but rule of cool. Do you know what? Last edition it was super competitive. It was like possibly the best fire support you could have last edition. For the points cost, it was amazing. It's kind of sad. Like, that's why I feel like you have to watch with Games Workshop sometimes, because like everybody that I know was running those Contemptors. Everyone was buying them off Forge World, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they just lost. They lost one to their ballistic skill. They lost one to their save. They lost 3 wounds, and I guess they also lost their feel no pain. So it was pretty harsh nerf on those Contemptors. You just put a few photos of the Space Wolf game. All right, we'll check them out. Cool. See, I haven't played any doubles games for a while where you ally up with troops. I've just been very focused on trying to make like this, because it's the start of the new edition, right? I'm just like gun-ho, I guess, to make like a super strong single army list that I can consider taking to a tournament. I mean, I don't know when the hell tournaments are going to start again with the UK's COVID situation, but I mean, I'm hopeful this year. I guess we'll see. The UK is just a bit of a mess at the moment with COVID. So like you can't see. You're not allowed to visit more than. You're not allowed to meet more than one other person from any household, and you're only allowed to meet them outdoors. So like, basically, you can't see anybody. Period. And it's been that way for like a month now or something. It's been pretty bad. I ordered 2 boxes of Vanguard Veterans last night. More to add to the pile of shame. Well, I mean, I guess that is the trick though, right? Like, see, when you talk about pile of shame, like, I normally make the models, then at least spray them, and sometimes do what I've done here, right? Where it's just like, I put the rim on, and I put like a base color on their base, and then like at that point they can get relegated to the pile of shame. Like, they're made, and I guess they're kind of playable. I mean, you could just slap 3 colors on and play with them, but like, I don't like to do that. I mean, I just generally never do that. It's not how I work, I guess. I'm thinking 5 with Storm Shields and a single Thunderhammer. Cheap survival when the opponent can't afford to avoid them, and they can be used like throwaway Death Company. Yeah, I mean, a single Thunderhammer is not bad. I mean, the Thunderhammer is bloody expensive on them, like for 12 points. That's why I sometimes have like a couple of Power Fists, but yeah, I mean, for fuck's sake, the good advantage to having the Chainsword guys is you can give up the Chainsword guys' attacks for the Melta-Bombs, which is really useful, I find. And Melta-Bombs is generally very strong. Like, it's like, I think it's about an average of 4 mortal wounds, and if you've already got like a Thunderhammer and some other hard-hitting stuff in that squad, then, you know, you can do a chunk of change to, or a chunk of damage to anything. Can I ask what the atmosphere is like with a hobby for 3D printing? I have a background in 3D printing and I think about making my own parts. Is it frowned upon by Games Workshop? So I have a friend that does 3D printing, Robert, and I feel like if he was going to go to a tournament, it would be possibly frowned upon. But like, for example, he's 3D printed multi-meltas for the Eradicators. Like, this was a month ago, because like Eradicators came out in the Codex, and they could have multi-meltas, right? But like the multi-part kits only came out like this week, I think. Like, they just maybe only went out for pre-order today. So we had a battling of, it was December, like middle of December, and he used the 3D printed melta-guns that he'd done for his Eradicators. Now, I mean, I was fine with it, like, because obviously the kits didn't exist, so he'd printed them, and they looked like multi-meltas, and, you know, he'd modelled them. Like, I don't know, unless you looked up real close, if you could even tell if they were 3D printed, but, I mean, for things like that, it's probably okay. Or, like, if you just need, like, us, you know, like, sometimes, for example, a tank, on the profile page, it's like, this tank can take a multi-melta, and guess what, you don't have one, so you could just print yourself a multi-melta. I guess that's probably okay, but like, if you're going to go to any sort of tournament, if you'd like 3D printed an entire tank or something like that, that might not be allowed. And like, different people are probably more against it than I am. I kind of just, you know, and then some people do 3D printed terrain. I mean, I've got absolutely no problem with 3D printed terrain. You know, that's absolutely fine. I mean, a lot of people don't use official terrain, right? So I mean, I guess probably just don't do it if you're going to like an official event. But if you're just playing with your friends and they're okay with it, then it's probably fine, right? My current build for 5 Vanguard Vets is all Storm Shields. 3 claws and 2 hammers, with one of the hammers on the Sergeant. I like the Relic Blade on the Sergeant, and I also don't take a Storm Shield on the Sergeant, because I figure that like you'll take the saves normally on the Storm Shield guys, so the Sergeant is the last one to die, so you know, unless they're going to wipe the squad, then I put an Infernal Pistol on the Sergeant, just because I like the ability to occasionally get that Infernal Pistol off for a bunch of good damage. And it does happen. I mean, doesn't happen every game, but I mean, it does definitely happen. This is what I was complaining about the other night. Some of these shields for these Blade Guard veterans are so close to their body, like, I'm not even sure I can see. I have a massive spotlight next to me, and I can barely even see in there to paint that. It's like super difficult to get the angle. Not just to paint it, but also to see if I've painted it right, I guess. Probably needs a second coat, and it's probably going to need some tidy up because I can hardly even see it. Ugh, not fun. Currently considering a fresh Terrors list. Would you review it? Oh, this is good. This is probably actually the same model, because these are the 2 of the same kits, right? So this one's also got the really difficult fin thing to paint. Flesh Terrors list. I mean, I would be happy to review it, I guess. I've never played as Flesh Terrors, so I mean, take that as you would. I mean, I know the rules, and I've read the stratagems, and I've read the relics, and like, I have considered a Flesh Terror detachment. I just don't want to lose my Super Doctrine. So I'd say like I understand the rules, I guess, for Flesh Terrors, and I could review the list, but like, would I give you the best review of it? Possibly not. But I mean, they're not a million miles away from Blood Angels, so I mean, it might be okay. Get the pitchfork, lads. We have a 3D printer. Paint the extra wings black. Maybe I should have done that. Well, we'll see. We'll probably just have to come back. Usually we have to do, like, this red's going to need a second coat anyway for sure, so I guess it's fine. Sadly, gold is not a skin color. Maxwell, what did you mean by gold is not a skin color? I missed that. Gold is not a skin color. Did you say something earlier? No, lost it. I have a bit of a headache tonight, so maybe if I get discombobulated or miss something in chat, I'm sorry. I don't know why. I just have had a headache, sort of you know, it's like one of those headaches that's like brewing. I thought it was maybe because I didn't have drink enough water today, but yeah, just something's going on today, I guess. Yeah, well, I mean, if it's just a custom part, or like I said, like a custom gun for a kit that isn't unreleased, Robert, then you're probably absolutely fine. You know, I had no problem with my friend using the multi-meltas that he painted out for the Eradicators. If anything, I actually wanted to fight against a list with that many Eradicators and multi-meltas, because I was like, holy shit, this sounds like really, really difficult to play against, and sometimes, you know, like, it's cool to be challenged, I guess. And boy, was that a challenging game. So yeah, that was it was absolutely fine for him to try some 3D printed multi-meltas up against me. I print power swords for my Sangori Guard. I mean, you could do. I mean, do Sangori Guard even come? Do they come with enough power swords? Because there's always a debate. Some people love the power sword or the Encarmite sword. Some people love the axes. That debate will last or rage forever, right? I'm of the opinion that both are good. Kind of both a bit situational, or they're, you know, there's some situations that axes are better in, and some that the swords are better in. So I usually just run a mix of the two of them. Kind of cover all the bases, I guess. But I've known people not to be allowed to play in Games Workshop stores for using third-party or 3D printing stuff. Yeah, that is actually true. There is a rule, I believe. You're not supposed to take anything that's not official GW to the store, which is fair enough. I mean, it's their business, right? So, but I mean, again, if it was just a single multi-melta on a model or something like that, or a sword, like, who would even know? And you know, if it's just because, like, let's say you buy a Death Company box and they only have 3 I don't think the Death Company box comes with enough Thunderhammers to give every unit in the box a Thunderhammer. So if you needed to print up a Thunderhammer, again, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean, that's on Games Workshop. They can't really expect you to go to eBay and pay the scalpers to get a single Thunderhammer. They charge like $4 for a single Thunderhammer on eBay. You know, it's like £2 plus £2 shipping. So yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. You don't. At that point, you're almost better to buy a whole other Death Company box for like 2 Thunderhammers. The attitude is rice paste and art for Storm Shields is usually super expensive. You know, like, I'm saying 3D printed, like literally all those Vanguard veterans that I made, 15 of them, they all have custom shields, right? I didn't show you earlier, but yeah, I bought these custom shields on eBay. So, I mean, I just wasn't willing to pay $4 a shield to get enough shields to give 15 guys shields, because I think some of these Vanguard veterans were actually assault squad guys, and I just felt like I didn't need any more assault squads. So, because I already, you know, I've had assault squads since like 2nd edition, so it's like, yeah, I don't need any more assault squads. So we just painted them all in the uniform color of like the Vanguard veterans, and then I wanted the shields to all match, and like getting matching shields is just impossible. You know, like Games Workshop do sell 5 jump packs on their website for a reasonable price, like $5. So they should do that, where they sell 5 shields for $5, and then the, you know, because I had to pay $6.50 or something for those shields. So the resale, if the Games Workshop just sold 5 shields for $5, I'm pretty sure they'd still make a profit on that. Then, you know, then we wouldn't have to buy anything from resellers. So good evening, Joseph. How you doing? And Marcel, thanks for tuning in, guys. If anyone is new here, then please consider subscribing. Every week we have a bunch of Blood Angels content out on this channel. Hey, thank you, Jay. Thanks for following. Yeah, I mean, we do. Well, we did do everything until COVID, and I guess when COVID ends, we will start to do everything again. Battle reports, tactics videos, painting. I mean, and then the live army show as well. So yeah, we do a bit of everything over here, and yeah. My plugin is still telling me that it's telling me I'm offline on YouTube and I'm offline on Twitch, so I'm pretty sure this plugin is lying still, but it was doing this the other night. I don't get it. First world problems. Hey mate, how you doing, Mikes? Good evening. Just doing some Blade Guard tonight. I mean, I need 5 for my new army list. So, and you know what? Speaking of 3D printed, this here, right here, is a 3D printed Blood Angels shield. I bought this off eBay because it's basically, well, there's a regular Blade Guard shield. There's a 3D printed Blood Angels one. I mean, you can tell it's different, right? But like, sometimes I get annoyed at, like, I like making my models feel more Blood Angels, especially like the kit. You know, that, for example, like the Indomitus kits. I hate it how the arms are attached to the shoulder pads. Like, I hate that, because I have like loads of Blood Angels kits from over the years. Like at the start of 8th edition, they put out loads of kits. Like, they put out kits that were like Blood Angels Aggressors and Blood Angels Hellblasters, and basically all it was like, it was your regular Hellblaster kit, but they threw in an upgrade sprue and you just paid a few bucks more. So I bought Blood Angels Intercessors, Blood Angels Hellblasters, Blood Angels Aggressors. Like, I bought everything basically. So I like loads. At one point I probably had like 10 upgrade sprues, and like bits are clipped off all of them, right? And then like you get this new Indomitus box and every single guy's shoulder pads are baked into the arms. So I actually hate that, because I want to give my guys custom shoulder pads. I mean, and that's exactly what I've done here and here, where I've basically had to snip away underneath at the shoulder pads. Like, probably if you look underneath, there's going to be a bit of mess under these shoulder pads. These are Blood Angels Terminator shoulder pads that I bought off some like bit site, where like you pay $2 and they send you the Blood Angels shoulder pad again. You're being ripped off, but I want them to feel more Blood Angels. And then I don't know if you'll notice here, but notice how the hand is smaller. So this is like a Blade Guard's regular hand size. And then over here, because this is the arm of a Sanguinary Guard, and Sanguinary Guard are like regular, not Primaris, the hand is slightly smaller, so it's really hard to see. You'd probably only notice it if I pointed it out to you. But I hate the lack of customization in those big boxes, and I guess you could wait for the easy build, or I guess you could wait for the multi-part kits, right? But here's my question, right? Because I didn't order any Eradicators today. I already have 6. I don't know if I'll be needing any multi-meltas. Maybe I will need some multi-meltas in the future, so maybe I might buy some in the future, but right now, no, I didn't order any Eradicators. If anyone's in chat that ordered Eradicators today, are the shoulder pads baked into the arms, or could you put custom shoulder pads on them? Because if the shoulder pad's baked into the arms, I'm just like, oh god. I mean, you can convert them, and obviously I've done it there, but it's a real pain in the arse, you know? 29 viewers and 15 likes. What's wrong, guys? What's wrong, I guess, is more people need to hit the like button. But that's not a big deal. People, you know, sometimes people hit it when they're finishing watching, or once they feel like there's some value. 3D printing has gotten so good, and the customization is excellent. Yeah, I mean, like, see if I was going to a Games Workshop store and I had to take my Blade Guard, and this was one of them. Like, I'd just be like, come on, like, I think this is okay. I'd be really upset if they weren't okay with this, because it's like, this is, you know, I could have put the regular shield on him, but I wanted to have him more Blood Angels, and like, again, couldn't they have made some Blood Angel shields like this? And then I would have, you know, I'd rather buy them officially than buy them from resellers, because when you look right up close at these, you can actually tell, like, they're 3D printed, because they're a bit, the texture on them isn't like exactly flat and stuff, so it's a little bit lower quality. But yeah, I mean, I just want to make my guys more thematic, I guess. Is that such a bad thing? Rip the BA Tactical Squad. Yeah, I actually have one box of the BA Tactical Squads left, which I guess will be worth super valuable now. Good evening, Highland. How you doing? Hope you're well, man. If BA Assault Squads were OBSEC, I might take them, but as it is, they never see a list. Yeah, no, I mean, Assault Squads only have one attack. I think that's their big downfall, right? Especially Vanguard Veterans are only 1 point more. But, I mean, I guess if you already have a bunch of elite choices, I can understand why you would take an Assault Squad, I guess. But if you've got spare elites, then I'd probably just never take the Assault Squad. I'm using tacticals, they're not dead. Yeah, I mean, they're not dead still. I just think that the full boss units and probably heavy intercessors are coming out very soon, right? So heavy intercessors and full boss may make tactical marines feel quite redundant, I guess. Stream is good. Okay, thank you for that. The BA tactical box kits are not in production anymore. Yeah, they had some cool legs as well. Like do you know what? I've been converting a couple into company champions. I've got them right here. So this was the sort of like thing that you got on their legs, right? So they just had these sort of like cloak things, and yeah, I think I used Blade Guard veteran heads for these champions. I just sprayed these yesterday, so I need to get those painted. And yeah, I sprayed my incursors yesterday as well, and I gave all 5 of them have beak heads, because that's how we roll here. Incursors with beak heads, because I hate painting faces. So got 7 guys just off camera that we need to get to as soon as these Blade Guard are finished, and as soon as the Vanguard veterans are finished. So yeah, we're generally going to be very busy at the moment. I've been putting together Incursors Infiltrators today, magnetized to do both, and I've put Blood Angels shoulder pad sprue on them. Exactly, man. That's what I'm talking about. I hate not having the custom shoulder pads. I want to say, let me look over at these guys. Yeah, I mean, I put a Blood Angel shoulder pad on the Inceptor, on this guy. I mean, it's not the same style as the other ones, right? But like, I was like, we need the shoulder pad, man down. This Blade Guard got wounded. So I mean, one of the things that I find the most fun actually is like I enjoy the finished product of the painting, right? Because it takes like so long for me to get there. I don't know if I find like completing a squad of guys as rewarding as making some sort of super cool unique model from a kit bash, or from like, you know, from all the other bits and bobs for the chapter that we've had. So I guess when you think about it like that, I think it's time that they upgraded the Blood Angels upgrade sprue, got some better stuff on it, make it a bigger sprue. And you know what, I mean, I'd be happy to pay more money for it. The money isn't the issue, it's just like, yeah, get some of these shields, whatever you want to call these, the new style large broad storm shields, get some of them onto the sprue as well. That would be super cool. I would buy that tomorrow. That's going to need a bit of tidy up. Got back into Warhammer in 8th edition. and did not know the new codex gave unit points, not including war gear points. Show my list of the Games Workshop store manager, and he didn't correct me on points. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the store managers aren't super knowledgeable. It's just dependent, I guess. I don't think anyone will care, especially if the base model is original GW. They just want to get their money. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably true. Like, if you just, maybe that's a good way to think of it when you're talking about 3D printing stuff. As long as the base model is pretty much the full GW model, and maybe if you just added a weapon or you've added a sword or something that's 3D printed, then you're totally fine. I've ordered the Dark Angels Combat Patrol. I'm thinking of designing custom shoulder pads for the Redemptor and a shoulder-mounted minigun to replace the right hand. Don't know what to do with the hand. I mean, that sounds a pretty cool idea. I mean, the Redemptor is a pretty cool model. The right hand is that the claw hand then? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I feel like the right hand is normally the one that's got the onslaught cannon, right? Or am I wrong here? Still trying to get over Blade Guard not being tier 5. Totally thought they were Gravis. No wonder they nerfed Relic Cataphractory Terminators. Yeah, do you know what? I don't know. When I first saw Blade Guard, I assumed that they were. I think I just thought they were toughness 5 because they had that 2+ save. But I mean, no. I mean, when you actually look at their armor, it's obvious that they're not Gravis. So, maybe if they were Gravis, they would be a bit of a. Yeah, they would have been seriously. Probably if they'd been Gravis, they might have even made Terminators redundant, like Terminators with Thunderhammers, maybe borderline redundant. So it's probably good that they didn't do that, I guess. Does the Blade Guard multi-part kit look like Mark IV shoulder pads will fit? I don't know. Did anyone in chat order the Blade Guards today? And did they care about looking at shoulder pads? Because, I mean, I jumped onto the Games Workshop site earlier today just to see what was for pre-order. But I mean, I sort of know what my next list is, so I wasn't looking to buy anything. The only thing I want to buy in the near future is maybe another Redemptor Dreadnought. I think Redemptor Dreadnoughts are maybe still a little bit underrated. Like they generally perform very well for their point cost. And congrats on starting your bike, Captain. Welcome to the club that is, I guess, the Facebook group and the Blood Angels Commander channel. You almost have to have the bike captain to be welcome here. He's just so strong. I was actually having a bit of chat in the Facebook group today and didn't realise that like Blood Angels in 9th edition can actually take 5 relics in their army, right? 2 of which need to be special issue war gear, but in a 2,000 point battle we can have 5 relics. I was like, wow, that's actually kind of crazy. You know, like when you think about stratagems and command points, right? Quite often, like 1 command point or 2 command point for a stratagem will be something that can affect like a single outcome or a single dice roll in the battle, whereas like if you have a relic, then it will affect the entire battle or at least the duration of a battle. So sometimes it can be very worthwhile to, you know, pay some more CP at the beginning of the game to get more relics. I know I certainly do usually run 3 relics, but with the Angels Ascendant and the Angels Exemplar, we can actually run 5 relics. Well, like I said, 3 relics and 2 mastercrafted, or what? No, not mastercrafted. Sorry, special issue war gear. So that's actually super interesting. I didn't realize we could do 5 until I looked into it today. Mikey's BA is getting killed at the LVL Open. I guess I will try and catch that game tomorrow and actually see. I am interested to see how the different lists do, and we might look over that tournament winners list as well this week, because I think that's going to be pretty good to look at. Like, you know, the guy that won that tournament, Battle in the Bush or something, his list isn't a million miles away from the new list that I was making, so I kind of feel like the new list I was making is going to be pretty strong. So yeah, we might dive into that tournament winning list this week as well if we have time. What's my favourite Redemptor loadout? I like the macro cannon. I really feel that, well, Onslaught cannon and the macro cannon, right? The Redemptor has that crazy 6 damage power fist. He doesn't need to be he doesn't. I don't think he needs a heavy flamer, right? I'd rather have the onslaught cannon and then the plasma cannon for like anti-armor. And also the plasma cannon is good against stuff like eradicators because you can fire it on high power to do the 3 damage a shot. So, and I guess like up against Death Guard now, the 3 damage a shot is going to be super useful with their -1 to damage. You know, you'll be able to chew through like, you'll just be able to chew through their army a little bit better. So, I know some people like to run double onslaught cannons on Redemptor, but I don't think that leaves you as versatile, and I don't think it. I think it maybe costs 5 more points to take the macro plasma cannon. I mean, it's not a lot of points. Obviously, it's a bit more random because it's D6 shots, but I mean, you can always re-roll that if you really need to, and because he's core, you get a lot of value out of the core keyword as well. How ironic is that? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of ironic that Stephen has to fight Blood Angels, but do you know what? It means Stephen will be very prepared to fight against Blood Angels, right? In that he always plays Blood Angels, 90% of the time, so that'll actually be a really hard game for that Blood Angels player to deal with, just because, he's playing against someone that will know all of the ins and outs. So, I mean, I guess there's that to contend with. Artisan of War, baby. I'll put... I'm still stuck on the Storm Leviathan with the Tech Priest hanging out. I mean, the Leviathan Dreadnought is very good. Hey Theo, good evening, how are you? I think Leviathan Dreadnought is generally very good, even with all the changes that they made to it, right? Like, I mean, if it had stayed at the same point cost, I wouldn't have been recommending it, but because they took it down, so many points, I generally feel like it's totally playable. Like, I still quite like it. 1 second, I need to grab some paint. We've moved from in-game CP heavy to operate in 8th edition to a pre-game CP drain in 9th, which is genuinely better, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's weird in that, like, there isn't a million different stratagems that we need CP for anymore. In a few of the games that I've been playing semi-recently, my CP drain was stuff like Transhuman and Smokescreen and Skilled Riders. Like, I'm almost using my CP to survive, and then relying on my characters with their buffs and their auras and their relics to just be able to do a lot of damage and not feeling like I have to worry so much about needing a million CP. I mean, maybe I need some CP for interrupting close combat as well, but like in game, like starting the game with like 6 CP seems like plenty now, whereas 6 CP in 8th edition, I felt like you would be out of CP way early, right? Like 6 didn't feel like nearly enough for Blood Angels. Plasma is the same cost. The 5 points more is for the minigun vs the flame. Yeah, then I would take the plasma for sure, and I would take the minigun as well. I feel like the Redemptor is so strong in melee, in that like its gun's a flat 6 damage, right? So if its its melee weapon is claw is a flat 6 damage. So if the claw is a 6 damage, then why do you need a heavy flamer? Just get him into close combat and you'll just kill anything anyway. I mean, they, like they're going to be stupid to charge into him because like I said, it's clause 6 damage. Who's going to want to charge in against that in case you have, like I said, you have CP to interrupt. Yeah, like I generally think the onslaught cannon and the macroplasma are the best two choices. I mean, if you really want a heavy onslaught, go for it, but I just think it makes you a little bit less flexible. Back in the last edition, where I think the heavy onslaught was less points, I could understand taking it, but if there's the same points, like D King is saying, then I'd always take the macro onslaught. I found too many deals on eBay. You have 11,400 points in a Reaver Titan. Yeah, I mean that. I think when I did my video, I said I had just under 10,000 points, so it's probably 10,000 points of unpainted stuff at the moment. And I have some other games, like non-Warhammer games, that at some point I really want to get painted too. So I guess I'm painting Blood Angels as much and as quickly as I can for the next 2 or 3 years, and then maybe at that point I'll work on some of the other games that I've bought that aren't Warhammer. But yeah, I mean, it's so far away. It's unfathomable to me when I'll get there. Cool thing with a Redemptor is it comes with enough parts to build both main weapons and swap them out when you want without magnets. So really, I didn't realize that. I have all the other parts in the box. I didn't realize it came enough. You could build the other arm. So that's pretty cool. The Redemptor has been sold out for a while, though. I think it's a very, very popular model. It's a very cool looking model as well, right? And in all the Math Hammer videos, it's always up there. Like, it's never best, but it's never worst. And for the points cost on it, it's very competitive. I mean, it's so good with the core keyword that almost makes like taking any older tanks like just null and void, right? Like, it's like, oh, you can't run Predators anymore. You can't run well, both the Ball Predator and the Predator. It's just not worth it. I mean, if you compare them to the Redemptor, they're easier to kill, and they probably, if they do more damage, it's going to be ever so minutely. Is Quake Bolts good for a Vanguard Sergeant with a Thunderhammer? I think if you take the Thunderhammer, you have to give up your pistol. Or can you keep the Thunderhammer and maybe it's the Thunderhammer and Storm Shield? I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe Quake Bolts would be quite good on a Vanguard Veteran. I feel like there's better ways to utilize that combo, though, right? Like, one of the ways that we're going to get to utilize that combo is like a heavy intercessor squad that could take it, and then they could shoot wherever you need them to shoot in the battlefield. But yeah, giving your Vanguard Veterans +1 to hit for 1 CP, like +1 to hit in all situations for the entire game, it's going to be pretty useful, especially if you're running some Thunderhammers and stuff that are normally -1 to hit. Ironclads are where I'm heading if I ever buy Dreads. Yeah, I mean, I would like to buy some Ironclads. I just don't think I can. I also wanted to buy Centurions because I've liked the look of Centurions for so many years, and we've never been allowed to run them, and like we're allowed to run them now, and I know they're not core, and I know they might not be the most competitive, but I do feel like there's strategies that you could use to make them pretty good for Blood Angels. Do you know what? I mean, I'll just bite the bullet and get some Centurions soon. I'm gonna get that Redemptor first, so I've got 3 Redemptors. I stupidly bought an easy build one, and I've painted it, but I mean, I just don't particularly think the weapon options are that good, so I don't know if I should just rip the arms off. It seems like a bit of a waste to buy a whole Redemptor and rip the arms off just to put them onto the easy build version's arms. It'd be quicker, but yeah, it's kind of annoying. I should have never bought the easy build one. I think at the time I wasn't sure if I was going to run it or not, so I was like, oh, I'll just get the easy build one. We'll see. Hopefully I can save some of you guys from buying the wrong models or doing the wrong thing in this channel. It's terrifying for me as my painted stuff only comes to around 6,500 points. That's not far off where I am. I think I'm going to be reaching 7,000 points of painted pretty soon. But do you know what? I'm not including stuff that I painted when I'm like a 15-year-old kid, because everything that I painted that I did when I was 15-year-old, honestly, it all needs stripped down and repainted. So 7,000 points since I came back to the hobby in like 2017, but there is more stuff than that, just like it's painted absolutely tragically. I don't think I knew about watering down paints in any way, shape or form. So the paint honestly is about an inch thick on some of the places. It's disgusting. You know, like there's a bolter on the top of like this rhino that just looks like a giant blob. There's like, yeah, there is a bolter in there, but like it's inside a giant blob of paint. You can fire into close combat as vehicles without blast weapons. Yeah, I mean you can. Obviously, you can't shoot the macroplasma weapon if you're in close combat. That is correct, but I mean, what's surviving against you in close combat when your fist does D3 plus 3 damage, and you have ways of re-rolling ones with Wisdom of the Ancient, and I mean, I'm pretty sure the Redemptor is going to get about 6 attacks, and I mean, because he's core, there's other ways you can give him re-rolls and stuff, you know? Like, I don't think many things are surviving in close combat with a Redemptor. And I mean, if they... Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's a problem that the macro weapon is blast. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you plan on running the Redemptor fully as a close combat character, then I guess you could take the Onslaught Cannon. It's the same points, but I mean, I just think that the Macroplasma Cannon will make you more versatile. And I mean, there's games where you get shot off the table before you get to close combat. So in that case, then you probably do want to have the Macroplasma Cannon, right? I bought the easy to build aggressors. I love the flamers, and it's a crime that the Ball Predator is so pants. Yeah, it's a bit sad. I think the thing I'm thinking about picking up the Dark Angels Combat Patrol just for the Redemptor and the Inceptors. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw this week's video, Tony, but Inceptors are generally very, very strong, right? They math hammered super well when I looked at them this week. If you don't have any Plasma Inceptors, then maybe it's time to get some, you know. Yeah, that's another problem with the Ball Predator, like you said. it should really, like, it has that custom fire cannon on top of it, like that, and it's, you know, like nothing else has that flamestorm cannon, so it should really, I feel like it should really be an assault weapon. Like if it was an assault weapon, the Ball Predator might have got some action because you would have had the ability to like turbo boost or overcharge engines or whatever it was called. I mean, actually I don't know if it still has that in 9th edition, but it used to have the ability you could turbo boost the engines, right? And yeah, maybe it doesn't have that anymore, but like, yeah, I mean, no one's playing Battle Predators. Maybe somebody somewhere is taking one. I mean, what's the difference in cost between a Battle Predator and a Razorback with a twin assault cannon? Because you can do that on the Razorback, right? And I guess the Razorback would transport like 5 guys as well. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't painted these Blade Guard at all, Astro, since I streamed on Thursday. I'm working on Vanguard Veterans off stream. I mean, at some point, maybe I would, once the Vanguard Veterans are finished, maybe I'll work on the Blade Guard a bit off stream. But no, I haven't touched them since the stream on Thursday night. You took out 30 poxwalkers with what? Flamestorm aggressors? Really? I think those Flamestorm aggressors were on that Hatchet patchwork sites for like pretty cheap, because people were saying today you can get attack bikes on there for like $8 or something, which is pretty cheap. I would actually look to see if they had Land Raiders, but they don't anymore. But I guess you could have maybe had a Land Raider, sorry, a Land Speeder for $8 on there as well. But 30 poxwalkers in Overwatch sounds pretty legit. How many is it? It's just D6 shots per flamestorm, and then you have like what, the grenades as well? Actually, I don't know if you get grenades if you have flamestorms on them. Do you? Oh, you had 6 aggressors. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, I was thinking 3 aggressors did 30 kills. I was like, wow, that's crazy good. 6 Flamestorm aggressors actually sounds pretty crazy. You just run them up the middle of the board. I guess they're Gravis, so they can't really go in any transport, right? See, I was running Bolt Storm aggressors, 6 of them, a lot of the time in 8th edition, and I was running them with the Standard of Sacrifice, and my goodness, were they strong. But, I mean, I guess with the nerf to the Standard of Sacrifice, I mean, and I guess we also had a nerf to the number of shots the aggressors got, and all that sort of stuff as well, so... yeah, I just haven't looked at them too closely since all that happened. Yeah, I wish that I picked up one of those Space Hulk boxes. I think they're on eBay, but they'll probably go for stupid money, I guess. You know what? I'm sure they'll release it again at some point. Because, I mean, the 2010 edition or whatever it was a re-release anyway, right? Yeah, Blade Guard just came out today for pre-order, I believe, Astro. I was looking for speeders, but $8, but I'll be second settle on the mega cheap attack bikes. Yeah, I guess loads of people bought the attack bikes. You know what? I like those attack bikes. I like his... I think they're still like power level 3. So like I was reserving them with my company champion, and I was able to reserve 2 bikes and the champion for 1 CP, which I thought was pretty decent, because just the ability to those bikes to pop in anywhere basically on the battlefield and get some multi-melta shots off, like on key turns or at key points through the battle. It's pretty useful. I actually had the bikes like, what did they do? There was like one guy left on an objective, like one intercessor holding the objective. I just had like a multi-melta bike come in and just pop him. It was really useful for like denying primaries or something like that, you know. Hey man, new BA collector here. Your vids have really helped me. I'm pure infantry. Is the pure infantry and dreadnought list viable? If so, what are must-haves? Yeah, I mean, I've been running pretty much pure infantry and dreads on all my... Oh no, you know what? I haven't run it on all my battle reports. I was running all that before I started using my super heavy tank, but I'm getting away from using the super heavy tank, and the list that I have made next is indeed primarily infantry and dreads. If we talk about dreads, then you need to consider the Librarian Dreadnought. He's really good for Blood Angels. And then Redemptor Dreadnought. So we've been talking a lot about Redemptor in the chat recently, actually. So consider Redemptor Dreadnought for sure. And yeah, I mean, I don't actually think we really need any armor. If I had to recommend one piece of armor at the moment, it would be the Whirlwind, because the Whirlwind has the ability to make enemies fight last, and it has the ability to prevent enemies shooting Overwatch at you. And considering how reliant we are on good close combat turns to win the game, having the ability to turn off Overwatch in a key situation for 1 CP is pretty legit. So, I mean, I'd consider Whirlwind. The Whirlwind is the one piece of armor I'm going to be running in my new list, and I'm going to try running, a Leviathan Dreadnought, but I think the Redemptor Dreadnought is also very good. I think I would like to get to a point where I'm making a list with 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, the Whirlwind, and then everything else would be infantry anyway. Like, I think that is generally very strong for us as it stands. So I guess the answer to your question is yes, infantry and dreadnoughts are probably very viable, but do read the rules on the Whirlwind and see if you value that. And there's other ways to turn off Overwatch, but the other ways don't work against vehicles, whereas I believe the Whirlwind's Overwatch does work against the vehicles. So the other way is the suppressors, and they can turn off Overwatch just for infantry models. I sold my Space Hulk about 6 months ago. How much did you sell it for? Did you sell it on eBay, or did you sell it to a friend? Has anyone played the FFG Death Angel Space Hulk card game? One of my favourites. I have never heard. FFG is Final... Oh, Fantasy Flight games? I didn't even know they did a Space Hulk game. I do actually own some Final Fantasy Flight games, but not the Space Hulk one. Yeah, I think Origin Painting was buying up those attack bikes as well today, because he messaged me about it. So I already have 3 attack bikes painted up with multi-meltas on them, and I didn't realise I've used them in 9th edition, and they performed reasonably well for me, but I honestly didn't realise that they were quite as good as... until I did the Math Hammer this week, and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, they did do really well when I ran them. So I guess maybe the answer is that I just need to run multi-melt attack bikes more often. I mean, I used to love them in previous editions because they're very small, they're very agile. And the fact that multi-melt has got buffed now to 2 shots makes a big difference, Oh, I forgot to do the rims on this guy's feet. Damn it. Oh well, we'll have to come back to that. What's the name of the stratagem? Suppression fire or suppressive fire. It's in the Space Marine Codex, and I think it's one of the last stratagems in the list. Platypike, whatever, however you say that. I'm sorry. English is definitely not my strong point. Denying that Overwatch has won me a few games and it holds an objective and a table quarter for me. Yeah, I mean, that's very true. You can just have that whirlwind parked in a table quarter and get your all fronts points every turn because of the whirlwind, right? And it doesn't need any line of sight for shooting as well, so it can be completely obscured or hidden. I forgot. I usually do these. I don't know what these are, like pipes or chains or something that they have behind. I usually do these things in silver. It's just like an armor seam, maybe, actually. I missed it on this model. Have you watched the Elvian Tabletop Titans match? Good use of the Rash of Baal relic and Rites of War trait on the Ancient. Also used the Judicar, but he did nothing and died. I did say when I reviewed it, I did say that Judicar was a bit of a strange pick. No, I haven't watched the game yet. I'll try and watch it tomorrow, probably in the evening. eBay £95 and got an airbrush. I mean, £95 for it is okay. I mean, I guess that's probably more than you paid for it, but like I think you could have probably got more. But I mean, it just depends on if Games Workshop feel like they're going to bring it back again. I mean, it all goes round. I mean, even Hero Quest is coming back now, and I honestly thought we'd never get a re-release of Hero Quest, so. All multi-meltas get 2 shots. Yes, I believe that is correct, even if the weapon options got updated. So like Sisters of Battle, I believe everything uses the new rules for the weapon, the number of shots. Don't know where they wrote that down, but I believe they talked about it, so you should be using the new rules for... Because I play a friend who plays Sisters of Battle sometimes, and he's been using the +1 strength on the power swords. On the... I forget the name of them. There's one Xeraphon and there's Seraphon. One uses power swords, one uses like pistols. And the ones that use swords anyway, the +1 strength to the sword has really helped those out, because before they were tough. They were strength 3, so it was really difficult for them to move Marines, but now they're strength 4. That's made that unit like way better. Marmy has 2 suppressors and a whirlwind. Too much Overwatch suppression. It might be too much Overwatch suppression. I don't think that many people use Overwatch now either in 9th, right? I mean, it was a lot... Overwatch was a much bigger problem for us in 8th edition. But I mean... I feel like if you got the Whirlwind, you probably don't need 2 squads of suppressors. So you could probably get rid of 1. Because the suppressors can split their fire, right? So they have 9 shots. You can split the fire. So I can't imagine you need to ever turn off Overwatch for more than 3 units in a turn. I mean, maybe you do, but I mean, at that point you would just shoot them against the things that are going to cause you the most problems, and then take the Overwatch on some weaker unit, or take the Overwatch from some weaker unit. I feel like is probably how that would work. Unless it's Tau, only one unit can Overwatch anyway. Yeah, I mean that's very true. You can only pay the CP once to Overwatch with a single unit. So yeah, if you've got the suppressors and you can turn off the Overwatch on 3 infantry units, and the Whirlwind can turn off it on a vehicle, surely you can turn off the Overwatch strategically and just leave him with whoever he's going to Overwatch with is going to do the least amount of damage. Plus, I mean, I feel like it's fairly rare when you get to do 5 charges in a single turn. I mean, maybe. But, you know, it's probably only going to happen once per battle. I don't know if you want to base too much of your strategy around something that's only going to happen once per battle. It probably feels a little bit non-optimal at that point. How many scary Overwatch units are you facing? Yeah, I mean... and Mark only Overwatches with flamers. I mean, that makes sense as well. Yeah, I mean, I think probably if you have the Whirlwind, you're probably good. But I mean, maybe you want that second sort of backup for the Overwatch. Hard to say, I guess. I tell you, I do like painting Primaris Marines a lot compared to the old guys. Like, just the additional, you know, just them being like, I don't know, they're only a very small amount bigger, but it just feels a lot nicer. It's really hard to explain. Maybe it's just a little bit less of a pain to paint certain bits. And I've been doing a lot of regular Marines recently, so this is a bit of a nice change. I've never done a wound on Overwatch in 9th edition. I don't run flamers. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I think I've Overwatched a couple of times with like a Leviathan Dreadnought. Yeah, do you know what I have actually? I've Overwatched a Leviathan Dreadnought against Repentia, and it was pretty important, right? Because Repentia are an absolute nightmare when they get in close combat, and did some good work with that. But I mean, apart from that, I don't think I've done too much Overwatch whatsoever. You know, that was probably quite a big change that benefited us a lot. That wasn't, you know, like it wasn't in our codex, right? The Overwatch change, but I mean, it certainly benefited pretty much the whole of our army in a way. I mean, we still can lose units or we can lose squads to Overwatch, but I mean, it's just if it ever does happen, then you're right. It can only ever be one squad, whereas in the previous edition, it could be multiple things in a single turn, which was a little bit too much, I guess. Ultramarines can do what greater good. Yeah, Ultramarines have a great Overwatch. So do Iron Hands. So do Tau. But yeah, I mean, for Blood Angels, you're right. It usually is pretty disappointing, and even other armies, it tends to be disappointing. Forget the name of that Ultramarine stratagem, but it is generally very good. If you like, Ultramarines like to run their armies in bubbles around Booty Gilliman, and yeah, I mean, if you've got Gilliman there with all the rerolls that he grants and stuff, you can do a lot of work with a good placed Overwatch, and whatever it's called, the stratagem that lets like everything within 6 inches join the Overwatch. I think the gold blade guard are going to look pretty cool, you know that? So yeah, we have the live army show tomorrow. So that'll be on back as normal at 4 o'clock on Sunday UK time. So hopefully should have some interesting lists to look over tomorrow. Haven't really looked into them yet, but we usually get some that are interesting. So that'll be going tomorrow, and then yeah, there's a few other plans for the near future. Hopefully this... that's a good question, actually. So, did anyone watch the video on the Storm Speeder? And then I guess the second question is, did anyone order a Storm Speeder? Because the Storm Speeder did look very cool, right? But, like, its Maths Hammer definitely seemed average at best, I guess. Like, 2 Land Speeders definitely seemed like they'd probably outperform it. Like a Tornado or a Typhoon, which would take like a multi-melta and have something else like a heavy bolter on it. Hard pass. Yeah, it seems like those new Primaris tanks weren't overly thought about in terms of like if they wanted them to be competitive. I don't know what they were thinking, because like look at Eradicators, for example. Like Eradicators are so strong, and then you come out with like these Primaris tanks and stuff that look really cool, and they're like decidedly average. I don't understand. I mean, unless the logic is to get everyone to buy Eradicators right now, and then in 6 months' time they'll make those Primaris tanks better, and guess what? You'll need to buy them Primaris tanks, because that'll be the new... They'll be the new big cheese. Oh, excuse me. Flat and open buying one. I still insist that base land speeder is the best buy, just the multi-melta. Yeah, I mean, the base land speeder, which is kind of interesting, he has 70 points and you just get the multi-melta. How do you compare the base land speeder then to an attack bite? Because for 55 points... What have you got? You've got 2 less wounds, you've got 1 less toughness, but you get to add in a twin bolt, twin bolter. So like, because it's on a bike, you can rapid fire. So it's basically strength 4, AP minus nothing, 1 damage, and 4 shots per turn, I guess. But it is also 15 points cheaper, right? If you think about it, normally one wound costs about 10 points. So, I mean, I suppose there isn't a lot of value in a bolt rifle, or sorry, like an auto, whatever it is, the twin. It's just a twin bolter, I guess. So there's probably not a whole lot of value in strength 4 or 4 shots, no AP, 1 damage, but yeah, it's 15 points, I guess. You get 4 more wounds, 4 more move, 1 more toughness, 2 more wounds, and you lose the bolter. Does the pilot have a gun then? Or no, they don't. Like the crew don't have bolt pistols or anything like that, right? I'd have to check. I assume that the biker. I was gonna say, in the old edition, the crew used to have bolt pistols, but maybe that's gone. I mean, I guess it's probably gone. Is tomorrow's review episode number 6? I think so. I think that's going to be number 6 tomorrow. I'll have to you're on the list, or you've submitted a list recently, Rezio, haven't you? You might be a couple of weeks away because, the crew have no guns. We've had a lot of channel growth recently, I guess, which is good for the channel, I guess, but we've also had like a shed load of list submissions. So, because there's been so many list submissions, and we've got list submissions by members as well, we're basically going to have to... There's going to have to be 2 queues for future list submissions, so that, like... Basically, if you become a member of the channel, which... The way that works is basically, like, it costs, like, $3.99 a month. And you get some perks for being a member. Basically, I started it this week. Basically, if members submit lists, they're going to get priority placement in the queue, because it just seems, these are the guys that are keeping the channel going, yes. If you submitted a list, you might just be back a couple of weeks, because we're going to, basically, depending on how many members submit lists, is going to be on where everybody else's submissions is. So we're still going to do normal submissions, and they're still going to obviously be free, but if members are submitting lists, then we're going to give the members a bit of priority, because they obviously pay me money every month, and there needs to be some advantage to doing that. So I mean, there is some advantage, but the more value I can give to the members, I guess, the better, really. But I mean, DM me or message me on Facebook, and I'll tell you exactly which episode your list's going to be in. I may have said a list when I replied, but things have changed, unfortunately, just because I've had so many submissions. I want to say I had like 20 list submissions this week alone, and I only do 5 lists a week, so I didn't want to have the members waiting like a month to get their list submissions. Sup Hydro, good evening, how you doing? Could you do a 2 or 3 member... Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I'm going to do. I don't imagine that there will always be 2 or 3 member lists every week. But, if there is, we'll do something like that where we filter in some of them. Basically, at the moment, I think I've got, like I said, I got 20 submissions this week, so I've got like 4 weeks worth of lists. So if a member submits a list, I don't want them to have to wait for a month to get it on the stream. So that is the plan going forward. Does mean I need to refilm my damn membership video. Hopefully I didn't delete the original source files, but I feel like I probably did. It's fine. I'll do it next time I've got some holiday from work, because that's when I did the last one. Uh, Not much happening tonight, Hydra. Just working on Golden Blade Guard, which confuse everybody, but they will look cool. And yeah, trying to just power on because whenever it's okay in the UK to visit people indoors or whatever, I'd really like to have some more of like. I really wanted to field a couple lists that have no Forge World units in them at all. I had some feedback that people were like, "Hey, you always field Forge World stuff," and I'm like, "Yeah, I do because I like the stuff. I think it's cool." But I'm happy to field some non-Forge World lists. Pretty sure I can still win without it. So I'm going to field a few non-Forge World lists. So this is why I'm desperately have a huge backlog of things I need to paint because I guess apparently I rely a lot on Forge World normally. So we're working on these Blade Guard to try and get them into a list that has no Forge World units in it whatsoever. So the no Forge World list will use stuff like Redemptor Dreadnoughts, Attack Bikes, Blade Guard Veterans, may even run a squad of Suppressors or a Whirlwind, maybe because we talked a little bit about how the Whirlwind would be pretty useful to disable key Overwatch if you need to do it. You said I was number 7. Let me see. Then I think you're going to be in number 8 now, Rizio. If you're not careful, this will become your full-time job. Do you know what? I don't think. I mean, on any weeks that I don't do as many videos, or any weeks that I don't manage to get all the stuff out, it's because my full-time job is kicking my ass. So no, I spend a lot of time on my full-time job. I don't know how many subs I would need to make this a full-time job. It would need to be like 100,000, and I don't think there's 100,000 Blood Angels fans. I don't even know if 100, because the ad revenue you get from YouTube for video views is pretty low. To be honest, so yeah, you would. I mean, maybe that's why. All credit to the guy, Auspex Tactics. He has a great channel, right? But like, he puts out like, I don't know, some days like 2 or 3 videos, maybe. Like, I feel like he's made his full-time job making balanced videos, maybe across the whole game. I honestly don't even know if he's making a living. Maybe. Like, does he still have a job? And he puts out a lot of videos. I think I put a link to his channel at the bottom of my front page now, because he does have a lot of good information. If you ever need stuff for like non-Blood Angel stuff, Auspex Tactics is a great channel to check out. Imagine if we could make Blade Guard into Primaris Sanguinary Guard with rules associated it and with a points power level bump. Yeah, I mean, just the rate that they're releasing faction specific troops is really slow, I feel like, at the moment. You know, like 8th edition was the start of the Primaris, and we're like 3 years beyond that, and all we've got is the Death Company, and even then they still don't have jump packs. It's just generally feels to me very slow, the speed at which they're rolling out custom stuff like that. You know, I have used the Blade Guard in transports before, but in this list that I'm building at the moment, no, I wasn't going to use a transport. I was just going to have them try and contest the middle of the board. I think that's how a lot of people are using Blade Guard effectively. So still going to have a Sanguinary Guard, still going to have a Death Company, use the Blade Guard to try and contest the middle. That's the plan. I pretty much always end up taking Oath of Moment anyway. Like, I feel like it's a really easy secondary. It's usually good for, like, usually even if you have a bad game, you get like 12 points out of Oath of Moment, right? So it's like such a solid scoring secondary. have something like Bladeguard Veterans just shore up the middle of the board, and almost like guarantee that you're going to score 15 points from your Oath of Moment. Feels like a good time. I think he's full time. I don't know. Maybe he is full time now. I know at the beginning he certainly wasn't. Good night, Origin. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see your next video soon. Looking forward to checking that out. I think it's Sundays. Origin Painting has live a new video every Sunday, actually. So if you're looking for something to do on Sunday afternoon when you're waiting for my stream to start, or when you finish my stream, you can go check out Origin Painting. He's usually always doing Blood Angel stuff as well. He was talking about doing a giveaway on his channel as well when he gets to 500 subs. So you know, like, I know Offspec Tactics does giveaways and stuff, but he has like 50,000 subs, so I guess good luck winning one of those giveaways. But maybe if like there's a giveaway on a channel with 500 subs, you know, much better chance at winning over there, I guess. Assault Terminator's finished. I now have a fully painted and based 2K army for Blood Angels. Congrats, man! Is that your first? Is that your first fully based 2,000 point Blood Angels army? If it is, big congratulations. You're now. I mean, I guess you could finally say, you know, it feels a good. It's definitely a good feeling the first time you get those 2,000 points ready. I'll tell you. What's annoying though is then when you play a game and you're like, all right, my army didn't do what I want. I'm going to change this, and then you add up and you're like, shit, I've got another 1,000 points to paint. That's what always happens to me. It's like bad deja vu. Well, if you want to change your list, Reziel, you know, you can submit at any time. Submit me a new list over in the community tab, and I'll just update it before I do that stream with you. And yeah, sorry about pushing it back. I just I have to take care of the members. Okay, gotta go. Time for my roleplay. Roll20 is a safe way to play. What game do you play in Roll20? And I guess have a good night, or enjoy your game for sure. I've played a few role-playing games on Roll20 during this lockdown. I have 2K of orcs, but that's by the by. Just means I can have some home games. So that's pretty cool, Rob. I did have an orc army a long time ago, but I traded it all for more Space Marine stuff. It's probably some of the stuff, even though I traded it like 10 years ago, some of that stuff's probably still in the pile of shame. That's bad, isn't it? This brush is starting to get a bit more frayed than I would like to be painting with, but the normal brushes that I buy are out of stock because of the damn, I guess, the COVID again. This is always COVID problems, isn't it? So I was going to try and wait and get the brushes that I really like when they're back in stock. Hi, Blood Angels Commander, are you still taking... Yeah, of course I'm still taking lists, Lagmeister. There's a bit of a queue now in that we have... It's been a little while since I've seen you, and yeah, we have a lot more subs now and we are getting a lot more submissions, so... but yeah, we are definitely taking them just over on the community tab. Just post it up. The only... You know... Just post it up in one of the latest community threads and I'll find it that way. Yeah, I do kind of wonder sometimes, like, if Games Workshop couldn't do more about helping people get started with lists and stuff. I mean, maybe I shouldn't complain and just be like, I'll make a video on like how to get started and what key units to pick, and you know, I'll take that sweet ad revenue, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it does feel like you know, it's a bit of a leap, you know, when you come into Warhammer, for example. Like, let's say you just bought the Indomitus box and you're like, right, I'm interested in this and I want to make Blood Angels. You're just like thrown in at the deep end with like, hey, here's some Indomitus stuff, but we're not really going to tell you how any of it synergizes with your Blood Angels. And then yeah, it just feels like there's probably more that could be done there. And that's why I'm here. Well, I'm glad you're here, man. Hopefully, I mean, my plan is I got an army. I got linked to a list that won a tournament in Australia, like just this last week or something. I think Mark that maybe just pieced out from the. Actually, maybe there's a. Yeah, I think there's a different Mark as well. Maybe there's a few people that follow me called Mark. One of the guys called Mark sent me a list that won a tournament in Australia this week. Or maybe it wasn't this week, but very recently. So I was thinking of looking at that list in a video to talk about like why it did well, what its strengths are, what I like about it, etc. And obviously, I mean, like, I guess that can help people learn and understand what they need to buy next or something. But at the same time, I am planning on sharing an updated version of my list as soon as I can play a game or two with it. I just want to make sure it works exactly how I want it to work. I think it's a very strong list, and I've been planning it for a while now. So I want to play a couple of games with it, make sure it's winning solidly, there's no weaknesses to it, and then I'm going to put up a video on my new list. And like I said, I've played 50 games of 9th edition at this point. Probably, if it hasn't been 50, it's like at least 40 plus. And then after being played 40 plus games, I'm actually on an 8-game winning streak as well with Blood Angels. If you were watching the channel a month ago when we were doing battle reports before everything got shut down, we were winning every single week. But I want to do a video on that list and share that with everybody and be like, this is what I'm using because, and why it's going to be, why I think it's super strong. And I think hopefully that will be, that should be super helpful. With more units getting -1 damage, you reckon Death Company with hammers will see more use than Sanguinary Guard? I mean, it really depends if it's just the Death Guard that get that -1. I mean, Dreadnoughts are already kind of difficult for Sanguinary Guard to deal with. So, maybe, I guess. I mean, I usually have Death Company with a hammer in the list, like a singular hammer. So, will we see... Or did I forget to do the... Yeah, I forgot to do this part. Oops. I think maybe we won't see less Sanguinary Guard, but I think what we'll see actually, Rob, is like, I think we'll see other ways of being able to deal with that, right? And I guess what I mean by that is we'll see other, like, a good example I suppose is like our Librarian Dreadnought, right? Like, we know the Librarian Dreadnought is strong. There's ways of actually buffing that Librarian to 11 attacks, I believe, and you can get full Chapter Master rerolls. So if you have an 11 attack Librarian Dreadnought who's able to do a flat 3 damage a shot, then maybe that's one way that we can deal with it. There is other options, like like Death Company captains. Again, we can buff them up to like a lot of attacks, and one could run the Hammer of Baal, which is obviously basically like the Thunder Hammer with no minus to hit. They can take Death Visions, so that they can get those bonus, the bonus extra attacks from the number of models. So I think they'll. I don't know if we'll necessarily see less Sanguinary Guard, but I think we'll see other things that will be very strong and useful. If that answers the question, that might be a bit of a weird answer, but I mean that's how the list that I'm working on looks anyway, right? Like we're still running the Sanguinary Guard, but I mean I typically only run one squad of Sanguinary Guard. You know, like some people run two. I usually like to run the Sanguinary Guard, the Vanguard Vets, and the Death Company. I think they all fill different roles, and I think they are all strong units to have in an army, I guess. And Co-Resil, yeah, please, if you want to make any changes to the list, submit it. And sorry, it's going to be a little bit longer before we look at it. And thank you to everyone that hit the like button. I appreciate that tonight. We had quite a few likes. And yeah, like I said, we do have our army list show going live tomorrow, so that'll be cool. I always like the army list show. I always feel like we learn a lot, even if none of the lists are like super competitive. There's always interesting ideas from people, and every week on that army list show, I always feel like I learn more about synergies and stuff as well, and I think that's why I'm convinced that this new list that I've got is going to be absolutely crazy strong. But sometimes you can be convinced and then you can go in the battlefield and like things don't happen. So I guess we'll see. I never make the army list show. I'm asleep. I'm sorry. I did look at the time like that I do the show and try and see if like if there's a time that I could do all the, you know, like I could get all the different time zones covered, but like it's just not possible. I'm afraid. Like I kind of have some family stuff that we do on a Sunday, and you know, then like my baby needs a nap and stuff, and it's just not easy for me to shift it. So I mean, if you can't tune into that, I'm sorry, D King, but I mean I appreciate you hanging out other times, and I mean you can always leave me comments on the show. The comment section is open after the show ends. So, and I mean I up until this point, I believe I've replied to every single comment on this channel. I mean, it's getting to a point where it's like 3,500 subscribers. There's quite a lot of comments coming in. I can totally see that there will be a point where I'm like, yeah, I probably can't reply to all the comments. But right now, I'm still replying to every single comment I get. It was kind of my plan when to. You know, I didn't want to be unreachable or whatever. I wanted to feel like it's an accessible and helpful and friendly channel. That was the goal. I think it's great you're doing non-Forge World lists. The thing there is a lot of players don't use Forge World for one reason or another, and it's really nice to see examples of what they can use at home. Yeah, I mean that's somebody suggested it to me. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. You know, I wanted to see if I could get that list that included the Forge World to 10 wins in a row, but I mean, maybe we'll come back to that. We'll run some non-Forge World lists and stuff for a little while, see how we get on. Then I can give you an example of a super strong non-Forge World list, and then hopefully super strong Forge World list as well. I think that'll be pretty cool. Oh, I forgot to paint his Aquila red. Alright, so I missed his Aquila. And I missed another guy's feet. I always do this when I'm batch painting, you know that? You like look at them and you're like, ugh, How did I even miss that? Are any of the Forge World models that aren't allowed in 40k? Are there any for it? Some of it looks to be pre-heresy. I'm very new and I don't know much yet. Yeah, I mean there is some models from Forge World that you cannot run in 40k. I guess a good example for Blood Angels would be Sanguinius doesn't have 40k rules. What you need to do is there's a book on the Forge World website called Imperial Armor. I think it's like the Imperial Armor Compendium, and that book is the book that has all the current rules for Forge World models in 9th edition of Warhammer. If you're very new, Jeffrey, then I guess what I would suggest is join up in our Facebook group if you haven't done so already. There's a link in the video description. And if you're thinking about buying anything from Forge World, if you ask in the Facebook group, or I mean, I guess you could ask me in a future stream, but if you ask in the Facebook group, has it got rules, etc., for 8th edition, then I can check my book and like just basically confirm that you wouldn't be wasting your money. And also, I guess if you haven't seen the Imperial Armor and you want to see the data sheet, then we can probably take a photo, you know, and share the data sheet in the Facebook group so you can see what you're buying. I mean, it's a bit annoying that it's so restrictive, and also that Forge World book is bloody £40, which is a lot of money for, like, typically you run one unit from Forge World. I think they'd be much better off selling like a little PDF with just, because the Forge World book has units from every faction, right? So it's just like, just sell me a PDF of or something of like the Space Marine units from Forge World or the Blood Angels units from Forge World, and I'd be much more happy to buy that, because what I ended up doing was borrowing the book from my friend to begin with and just taking some photos, because like everyone's got a camera phone now, right? So just took some photos of the pages that I was interested in, and then when I got home I just printed them off on my printer, because I was like, I literally need 2 pages out of this book, and £40 for 2 pages is kind of taking the piss. You know, Wikipedia is the best for data sheets. Yeah, that's very true, Jeffrey. There is a Russian website, and I guess you'll probably find it if you Google what Tony just said, called Wikipedia, and it is basically a Russian website where they just put all the rules for all the factions up on their website. I've used it from time to time in my streams to get stats, you know, when I didn't have the books and stuff, and I mean, Games Workshop probably just struggle to shut it down because it's from Russia. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess you could just use that and see if the unit that you're interested in is listed on there as well. You do commonly have to pay 1 CP as well when you include Forge World units in your army. They have this special rule called Martial Legacy, which just means they're supposed to be a bit older and rarer or something. I haven't actually read that rule myself, but I assume that's what it says, and you have to pay 1 CP to include them in your army list. The list review goes out about 11 AM my time, which is super reasonable. I've got a bad habit of staying up to like 4 AM on Saturdays. Fair enough. When you stay up to 4 AM, are you drinking, or what are you doing? You just painting or hanging out, or what? Man, I drunk for the first time in what felt like ages last night. I just had like 1 beer and 2 whiskeys. Maybe 3 whiskeys. I wasn't really measuring how much I was drinking, but yeah, I mean, it's just so weird, you know, like you can't go to the bar or anything, which is just crazy. I think in the UK, once this lockdown ends, people are going to go mental for like pubs and bars and stuff like that. I don't know. The show is 9 p.m. Well, yeah, I tried to pick a time that I can commit to every week, I guess, guys. So, I mean, if it doesn't quite line up with your time zones, I'm sorry. I mean, maybe at some point in the future the time may change, but for the moment, you know, I guess the time is the time. And, yeah, I mean, yes, you can. A decent number of people actually catch it on the replay every week because, like, 300 or 400 watch it live, and then, like, when I check the analytics a few days later, it usually tells me like there's been 1,000 views. So I guess as much as half the people that watch the show catch up on the replay. I'm glad to hear that, Jeffrey. I don't, honestly, it's quite hard. Like, I said to one of my real life friends, I was like, right, the Facebook group has got so big now that like it's hard to know who everybody is, or it's hard to even see all the new posts. Because I think we just passed like a few weeks ago. I was like plugging the Facebook group in the channel. I was like, yeah, we just got 350 members. This is amazing. Now we're at like over 600. So once we get like over 1,000, it's gonna, it's great, but at the same time, it's like, sometimes I'm like, I just log in and it's just like so many notifications on Facebook. I'm like, I'm trying to just answer everything that I can. So we'll see. So I'm glad to hear that you've joined it and it's been helpful. I mean, appreciate you guys hanging out as well. I'm retired. Oh, I own 2 Forge World units and haven't been able to justify the boot cost to run those. Both units are meh anyway. So what 2 do you own, Reziel? I'm a retired Navy firefighter. It's been a long time since anyone called me brother. Didn't realise how much I missed it. Do you know what? It felt super weird to be saying it on when in like my first videos. Like it just felt weird. But you know what? I feel like I like it calling people brother more than like calling them like dude or friend or something. And I mean it works perfectly within the lore, right? So yeah, it's kind of nice, I guess. I'm actually really enjoying painting these blade guards, you know that? I mean, I'm slow as fuck, I'm sure you can see that, but I think they're going to look badass when they're done. When I stay up to 4, it's mostly hobby, and then lately I spend the last 2 hours watching Star Trek reruns. Do you know what? I am actually watching... like, I've been trying to get through the first few seasons of Voyager, because I remember when... in the UK, they have all the Star Trek on Netflix. I've been trying to get through Voyager because I remember when they find the Borg, Voyager gets better, I think. And I must have watched Voyager first when it came out in like 1995. So I guess I've not seen it in like 25 years. But like I'm trying to get through the first few series, but I feel like I'm certainly getting through them, but I'm going slow. But hopefully, like I'm in season 3 now, so hopefully we're going to see the Borg soonish. I feel like there was like a double parter or something, and that's when they had like 7 of 9 come in it, and then there was a lot more combat. I think the thing I like Star Trek when they're fighting people. I mean, I suppose I don't mind the episodes. You know, like, have you guys watched Discovery then? That's a good question, Reziel. I guess if you're talking Star Trek, because we've watched all of Discovery, me and my wife, but like it's so different from old Star Trek. I'm not even sure I've like I'm 3 seasons into it and I'm not even sure if I like it, but I have watched it all. £45 for what? Basically the ancient lol. Who needs 2 lieutenants and 5 easy to build intercessors? I did see that new kit, D-King, and it did seem a bit random to just pay £45 for a Primaris Ancient. But the thing is, every fucking box is coming with intercessors, right? It's like the Combat Patrol, intercessors, the Dark Angels Combat Patrol, intercessors. Intercessors aren't even good. Like, I bought, what is it, Dark Imperium. So I have, like, I think there was either 15 or 20 intercessors in Dark Imperium. It was probably 15. It was probably like 3 squads of 5. When they first came out, I also bought a box of intercessors. So I think I have 25. I maybe even have 30 regular intercessors. And guess what? They're all fucking painted. And guess what? They all sit in the drawer and they never get played with. Honestly, intercessors. Why do we need intercessors in every box? Like, they're just... I don't use them at all. I don't know that many Marines players that use them either, because everybody's using Phobos units. So unless they made like tons of intercessors and no one wants them, and they're just like, what do we put in the Combat Patrol box? I know, intercessors. Even, for example, the Death Company intercessors, it wasn't even the assault ones you got. It was just like the regular intercessors with the Blood Angels upgrade sprue. It was like, to me, that was crap, honestly. What primer base did you use for the Blade Guard? Right, so when I paint gold, or when I do models that are gold, I actually spray them black, and then I spray them with Retributor gold. So I find that putting the black down first means that in all the little details and areas around here where maybe the gold spray doesn't get in, you'll still get some depth. And I think if you put the gold over, like, well, I actually don't know how the gold does going over just normal, you know, like if you just sprayed the gold on straight away, I actually don't know how that does. But I think if you put gold over white, you get much more bright gold, whereas if you put the gold over black, you get a bit more of a muted gold. And I guess that's kind of how I do these guys, in that they're a bit more, like, they're not super bright gold, right? Like I am actually, when I'm finished with all the base colors and all the detail, I will actually coat the whole of the model in, I think it's Reichland Flesh Shade I'll use over the whole of the gold, and that'll give it sort of like a reddy, goldy tone to it, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And that's sort of how I do my Sangreal, and yeah, I hope that makes sense. It's one of my favourite Facebook groups. I'm Facebook almost every day for the only thing I use Facebook groups now, the only thing I use Facebook for, sorry, is like 40k groups. I generally don't look at the timeline of people's shit in real life. I just look at 40k stuff. I have a Relic Contemptor and a Land Raider Achilles. The Land Raider variant with the 2 twin multi-melt sponsons and the hull mounted with Thunderfire cannon. The Achilles is brilliant, Rezio. It's one of the best models at the moment. I honestly saw one go on eBay for about $300 because it's out of print. Like, Forge World don't sell it anymore, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, I saw a brand new one. I think it was built, like, so it wasn't on sprues. I think it was just built, and it was $300 on eBay. So if you really don't like your Achilles, then sell it on eBay. You'll make some good money. But honestly, with the buff to multi-metas, I think it's pretty good. I remember watching Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. Liked the fighting episodes and the ones that contributed to the story, but turned it off. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, you know, I used to watch X-Files a lot as well, and right, like, I guess in the earlier seasons of X-Files, there's a lot of like Monster of the Week episodes, right? And I guess you could almost say that with shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or like even like maybe like Smallville, where it's just like nothing's happening really with the main story. It's just Monster of the Week. And I guess Star Trek, I guess it's almost like Planet of the Week. And sometimes those are fine, but like sometimes you're just like, oh, I just want to get through this crap and actually do the main story, right? Probably, in some ways, they're a bit like a side quest in a computer game, right? I'm on Enterprise, so underrated. Do you know what? I really liked Enterprise as well. That was underrated. It was really sad that they cancelled it as well. I mean, it was only 4 seasons in. I felt like it had a couple more seasons. I like the whole Xindi arc in Enterprise. I haven't watched that since it came out either, so that would be like, geez, coming on 20 years. Maybe I need to give Enterprise a rewatch. It was generally really good. So frustrated this variant does allow you to have pinnacle mounted. It doesn't matter that it doesn't have a pinnacle mounted multi-melta. The Thunderfire cannon it's like strength 8. And it's the same 24-inch range, and I think it's like -3 damage a shot, and it's like heavy 4 or something, right? I don't think it even matters that there's no, like, it's got 8 multi-melta shots, it's toughness 8, it's 16 wounds. The Achilles is genuinely legit. I would honestly consider fielding it. So yeah, I don't think it's crap at all, Rezio. Anyone have any idea if the Angel Infernus. I do not know what the Angel Infernus... Oh, the Angel Infernus Land Raider exists anywhere. I don't even think I've seen rules for the Angel Infernus in the new Imperial Armor book, so I'm guessing it probably doesn't. I'm contemplated putting an... How do you say that? Niliki? I have no idea how you would say that. Is that one of the new Necron paints? Or is that an older paint? I only have one friend that plays Necrons, and I don't think I've ever heard him say that word. Highland. Yeah, it's a dynasty for Necron. Well, I'm not going to try and pronounce it. And what does the paint look like? Oh, look. Yeah, I mean, the way that you could even consider running the Achilles is to, like... If you had a Tech Marine with you, then you could awaken it, and then you have 8 multi-meltas hitting on 2s. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, at that point, that's more firepower than a squad of Eradicators. Sure, it costs a bit more, but I mean, your toughness 8, and your 16 wounds, and I guess you're a 2+ save with a 5+ invulnerable save. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think if I was going to run a Land Raider, I think that's the best Land Raider you could run. I think it can carry 5 models as well, right? Or no? I feel like it carries 5. Sorry for the split comment. Yeah, it's fine, no problem. I'm pretty sure it was cut and forgotten as well. It's just a shame there's no legend sheet for it. It had enough flamers to make salamanders jealous. Yeah, sometimes they do that where they release a tank or something, and then they just sort of forget about it and take it out of existence. It's a bit annoying when it happens, but I mean, what can you do, I guess. Alright, where was that guy that I missed the feet on? So it's 8 minutes to midnight, so I'm going to stop streaming about midnight. I mean, my eyes are getting pretty tired anyway. So, I mean, what we managed to do tonight then is we managed to finish the red on one model, we painted the blades, and we put a little bit of silver on the back. Well, we actually put base coat on the backpack. So, basically we got 2.5 hours, very, very little done, I guess, is the answer, and this is why I'm slow at painting. But, I mean, progress is progress, right? So, I actually bought both those models at Games Day in 2012 in Chicago and would run them, but I need to get the data sheets. I would run them. You know, if you ask in the Facebook group, I can get you the data sheet for the... I mean, just remind me that you need it in the Facebook group, and I'll get you the one for the Achilles. Pretty sure I've got it, because I took photos of just about everything that I considered to be decent, and the Achilles I definitely think is decent right now. I think it's one of the... I mean, if the multi-melta buff hadn't come in, then maybe it wasn't that decent, but with the multi-melta buff, it's very, very good, I think. Nihilak. Okay, thanks. I literally just finished my 2K list really nicely. Now I think I need Infiltrators, another Relic Terminator squad, Gabriel, Seth, Company Vets, and a drop pod. You weren't the guy that already had 3 Relic Terminator squads, were you, D-King? Because we did a list last week or something on stream that already had 3 Relic Terminator squads. If it's you and you're talking about getting a 4th Relic Terminator squad, no, you need to think of something else. Unless you really, really, really like Relic Terminators, but what happens when they get made Legends or something like that? Very little done is another way. That's very kind of you to say that very little done means heart and soul. But yeah, I mean, you know, some of my friends just slap 3 colors on and they play, whereas like, yeah, I want them to be fairly decent. I mean, you spend a lot of time and money on these things, right? So it's like, I don't think I could justify spending as much time and money if they looked like a pile of shit. So yeah, lots to do, but I mean, progress is progress, I guess. They will be very cool when they're done, but yeah, lots and lots and lots to do. Sorry, apparently I'm 3 minutes behind the streams. My comment is lagging. Sometimes I'm slow at picking up the comments as well because, like, I'm focusing on painting things and end up being quite slow there. So, yeah, these guys will be pretty interesting when they're done. But yeah, I mean, it's random that I'm doing 7 of them, but I guess it'll give me options. You know, I was thinking to myself, why the hell am I doing 7 of them? And I was like, I guess I could run like a 4 and a 3. And this is actually the lieutenant model, but I actually got 3 sets of Indomitus in that I traded 2 of them. I bought one for myself and traded, and then someone had some leftovers that they gave me, so I got like 2.5 sets. So I already have this Primaris Lieutenant made, so I figured I'd just use him as one of. So basically, he's like a Blade Guard Sergeant, right? Like rather than being a Primaris Lieutenant, I guess. Because there was no access to the multi-part kit, so I just sort of decided just use him, like he is part, like he was one or whatever. The Achilles has a super one with the scatter shell and the thunderfire shell. Yeah, the Achilles main cannon is actually really good. Yeah, I mean, you could do that, Julian. I could certainly have a look for you if that's if you are submitting a list. Yeah, you could totally do that, and we could have a look at it. I want to switch Power Fist and Chain Fists for another Lightning Claws one. If I do that, Seth can make them 2 damage on 6s, which is really nice. I never consider that. Chapters champion with Archangel Shard, +2 strength, -4 AP, 2 damage, yay or nay. So I started building this Death Company. I think I painted this on stream the other night, but I've kind of put it to the side for a little while. So I built this guy, who is going to be a Death Company captain on a bike, and my thought behind this was exactly what you've just said. Archangel Shard. There's a magnetized sword that could be the Archangel Shard, and there's a magnetized Thunderhammer that could be the Hammer of Baal. So yeah, that was my thought. And then just to keep it real, take this guy off here, and we could put on this guy who has the Teeth of Terra, which is a double-length chainsword that I converted. So the only reason that I didn't magnetize all 3 arms was I felt like this chainsword arm might be a bit dodgy. I mean, it does feel a little bit dodgy, but hopefully it'll be okay. So Archangel Shard on your chapter champion. I think Archangel Shard with the against Death Guard, it's going to be super useful. I don't know if I'd have it in every battle, but it's not bad. I have 1 leg done on my Relic Contemptor, so I'm happy with my progress. Another 3 months and the Dread may be done. Yeah. It's okay, Hydra. If nothing better, it's a very good sword against Chaos and Demons. Yeah, I mean, it's -4. I mean, you could also use something like the Burning Blade on the Chapter Champion. And the Blade of Triumph isn't bad at all either. I mean, that's basically your Hammer of Baal, right? It's -3 damage as well. So, I mean, Archangel Shard is situational against if you're fighting Chaos, really. But the shield is actually... The shield math hammered a little bit weaker than the Armor Indomitus on that champion. You know that, right? I was surprised by that, because I really thought the shield would do better, but I mean, just because he's only got the 4 wounds, the Armor Indomitus actually did come out stronger. So yeah, thanks very much for tuning in, guys. I am probably going to head to bed. We will be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock for the live army show, as normal. We'll be going over 5 lists in that show, so hopefully we'll catch some of you tomorrow. If you did enjoy tonight's stream, please leave me a like. It's very much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could use the Armor Indomitus on a captain. I actually upgrade my captain to the Chapter Master. I really like Chapter Master rerolls. I think they're worth the points that you pay for them, and that gives your Chapter Master that ability to have that toughness 6 and 7 wounds. I think that's super strong. Toughness 6 is really interesting when you come up against Death Guard as well, and they have that -1 toughness aura. You know, that keeps you at toughness 5, which just keeps it difficult for them to wound you with a lot of things. You know, it's almost like a 20% survivability buff just by staying at that +1 toughness, or that 5 toughness. Cheers for running. The stream's been great to listen to while I build some Sanguinary Guard. Almost there with them. Night, everyone. Yeah, thanks very much, Jordan. Good night, D King. Good night, Tony. I really appreciate you guys all hanging out tonight, and yeah, hopefully see some of you tomorrow. Am I in the list review episode? Let me double check. No, I don't think you're in for tomorrow. Unless you have a different name on Facebook than you do in YouTube, I guess you're not in for tomorrow. We have had a lot of submissions recently, though, so yeah, hit me up in the Facebook group, and we will double check where you are, because I'm not seeing you on the list of lists I have right now. So, cool. Well, good night, everybody. Thanks very much for tuning in, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. By the blood are we made. Peace.